Hey guys, it's Oski Boy, back with another video. You probably haven't heard my voice in a long time, and you probably haven't thought about O&R Gaming in years. It's okay, me neither. So if you've been paying attention to Rec Room social media at all recently, you'll know that Rec Room is shutting down on June 1st, 2026, which is probably past by the time of this video being uploaded. Man. Logically, I should have known this day would come eventually, given Rec Room's decline in popularity and a decline in VR use in general. No one thought Rec Room would last forever, but it still shocked me to see the day finally come. Coincidentally, I'm also about to graduate high school and move on to the next chapter of life, almost certainly leaving behind any aspirations of making content that I once had. So I figured it was only right to make one final video commemorating my time with Rec Room and this channel, and a final goodbye. Over COVID, RPG Boy and I decided to create this channel completely out of the blue. We were halfway through 6th grade, and when the entire world shut down and we were forced to spend our days behind a screen. We've been friends since kindergarten, and we've always found ways to have fun and be creative together. It became much more difficult when no one would go anywhere, see anyone, or do much of anything. So we decided that we could have some fun just uploading videos of us playing our favorite games, not for the views or for the clout, just something to do and something to eventually look back on. So we came up with the most basic name possible, the Gaming Boys, and we created the channel. At first, we had genuinely no idea what we were doing. So RPG Boy's cousin made us an intro, and from there we just recorded ourselves playing Brawl Stars and put boring voiceovers over the videos and published them. I remember vividly the excitement of having our content out there, something uniquely ours, and I fell in love with it. I asked my mom to send our channel to her friends on Facebook to get a few starting followers, and from there I never looked back. Whether it was tips and tricks videos for Brawl Stars or Jurassic World the Game playthroughs, I would always love the excitement of checking to see how many views the videos got. I would refresh YouTube Studio first thing in the morning, checking to see if our 23 subscribers miraculously jumped to 24. While we were having a blast making these videos, we never gained much traction. One day I had an idea that would change the course of my experience with the channel. So going back even further, in September of 2019, my dad brought home an Oculus Quest, way before the Quest 2 even existed. So from the moment I first put the headset on, I knew VR was for me. It felt like I was living in the future. I was playing some of the most interactive games I'd ever seen. It was only a matter of time before I tried Rec Room, which would later become my favorite game of all time. While I didn't play it a ton that year, it was still in the back of my mind as one of the coolest games I'd ever seen. So when we needed a game to try on the channel, Rec Room jumped straight to my mind. When I created a Rec Room Let's Play series, along with a channel rebrand to O&R Gaming, we finally started seeing a little bit more views. Rec Room genuinely felt fresh and exciting, and I loved how the game encouraged social interaction in such an isolated time. My story with Rec Room is far from unique. When the game blew up in mid-2020, most people felt the same way I did. This game was something truly special that allowed us to escape the depressing, lonely reality that was life during that year. I and many others found ourselves blown away by how lively and entertaining the game felt. As I struggled to beat Rise of Jumbotron, which comprised the second half of my Let's Play series, I felt completely invested. With each attempt, it mattered to me more and more. Each death carried weight and disappointment, and the euphoria that came with beating it for the first time was probably some of the most I've ever felt from a video game. If you watch Rec Room Episode 8, you'll see that my hands were actually shaking. Yeah, it meant that much to me. It got to a point where it almost felt like Rec Room and O&R Gaming were my life. As Rec Room grew exponentially in popularity, so too did the number and quality of games, events, and more. I remember going to RecCon and listening to a panel of Rec Room YouTubers giving their best advice for making content. I had had a notepad in my lap and I did my best to take notes while still paying attention with my headset on. If you couldn't paint a picture in your head of how much I cared before, now you definitely can. In school, which finally started to go back in person in late 2021, people began to recognize the name Rec Room as it grew to becoming on the cusp of mainstream. I was so optimistic, and I thought maybe one day the once obsolete game would become a new juggernaut, taking over pop culture. I started making content geared towards newer players, and I anticipated a huge growth in my views and subscribers. I almost thought for a second, like many others my age, that I could one day do YouTube for a living. This optimistic spark was fueled by the massive success of one of my videos, which garnered almost 60,000 views. Unfortunately, like many good things in life, Rec Room's popularity came and went. As life slowly returned to normal, there was less of a reason for people to connect socially in VR. Along with unpopular development choices, Rec Room's niche began to disappear. We posted our last Rec Room video in February of 2022, and from then on, YouTube stopped being a focus in our lives. We entered high school, navigated friendships, extracurriculars, relationships, and everything else that came with growing up. Every once in a while, I would find myself looking back at our videos, and I would be briefly inspired to come back and make content again. But each time, life just got in the way. I was busy, and it felt like my audience would probably not be there waiting for me. So it never happened. The channel has been sitting here collecting dust for 4 years now, and up until recently it slipped from my mind completely. When I saw that the game was shutting down, I knew I needed to make one last video. One last hurrah. For such an important era of my life, I couldn't just abandon it without a farewell. So this has been what this video is. A farewell and a thank you. The Rec Room developers have put so much effort into their game over the years, and they created something truly amazing. To anyone who is a member of the Rec Room development team, online community, or played the game, I want to give you the utmost thanks for making Rec Room such an unforgettable place. I don't know if this video will get any views, especially with minimal editing and nothing to catch people's attention or anything, but if you're here watching this video now, I just want to thank you as well for joining me on this journey. To each and every viewer, I want you to know how much this meant to me and how much of a smile you brought to my face each and every day. This will almost certainly be the last video on this channel, and certainly the last video about Rec Room. As RPG Boy and I head off to college, we'll probably never think about O&R Gaming seriously again. But who knows, maybe in the future my passion of making YouTube videos will return. If it does, you all will be the first ones to know. I don't really know how to end this video. I've been mostly just ranting my thoughts, hopefully coherently. But I guess I need to do it in the only way I know how. So for one last time, Oski Boy with O&R Gaming. Peace!